Hello, my name is Grumpy. Grumpy Eye. Grumpy Eye. Grumpy Eye.
We have gathered here today so we can watch the interior design of the journey to 4.0.
This week, it's another Journey to 4.0 special, where we jump farther ahead and take a look at work scheduled to make its persistent universe debut in the upcoming 4.x branch of release. And this week, we're proud to bring Star Citizen art director Ian Leyland back to share with us a first look inside the buildings of Star Citizen's landing zones.
So building interiors is something we've always wanted to do, because of, we've had cities in the game for a while. We have many cities, we have many buildings, therefore we could have many interiors. It's a perfect opportunity to put in a lot of play space. Now, with the players flying around these buildings, they've been largely urban landscapes, fairly uninteractable. We've done a few landing pads to get the players in and out there, but really the real good stuff was on the inside. So up until now, we've been on the outside wondering about the inside, and today we're going to talk about the inside.
Huh?
Looking outside.
Huh? What? I just made this joke? But also, that's like the original joke that I made with my first series, when I started the series Outside Inside Star Citizen. Like the first video was called Outside Inside Star Citizen, looking from the outside in to the inside out, or something like that. And then like it was like all the fucking variations of that, and it was like upside down and all the things. And then I just like stuck to Outside Inside Star Citizen, and then like the name of the video, and that's it.
All right, so we're building interiors. The way in which we approach the concept development, now this was just a pure blue sky ideation phase, and the idea was to create inspirational material to use that as a content to inspire conversations, to find out what do we want to do for the game, what is cool for the game, and use that as the initial springboard for the conversation. So what we'll be looking through here is a presentation of blue sky ideation, primarily used as a springboard to start conversations with Chris, with the design director, and the game director, to understand what do we want to put in the game, what could be cool for the game, and we use that as that initial inspiration point. So when we're talking about building interiors, how could we start to break that down? So right off the bat on the top, it's the rooftop spaces. So these would be the primary access points for the player. Then just below that, the maintenance spaces, these could be industrial or technical. Also, we can have residential. So residential could be entire building blocks, so it could be a proportion.
Wait, are they really doing this? Because the initial idea was like for our corp and for like all the major landing zones to have like interior, and it was supposed to be procedural, and all the buildings were supposed to have some kind of an interior. So are they really doing this? I'm hopefully, yeah. And hopefully there will be like something to do there, but let's see.
Then after that, we've got commercial. So these could be shopping, it could be offices, it could be social. And then at the bottom, obviously, we've got lobbies. Now, these also could be access points for the player. For example, if you're inside Area 18, the player can get access to it there. And then lastly, we've got the underground.
Wait. My thought process is, if they're actually going to do like procedurally generated buildings and interiors and all that, that means that like all the buildings have to have like the point of access or the point of entry. Which for me, on like, let's say our corp, because the whole planet is a fucking city, is probably going to be from the rooftops. Because if you want to do the lower access, like the access from the lobby downstairs, then you need to make a street. Then you need to make a whole environment that's going to be completely procedural. So unless it's like inside the landing zone, and it's like just like a thing that's going to be inside the landing zone, and you can't access it from anywhere else. So I don't know.
And at the bottom, obviously, we've got lobbies. Now, these also could be access points for the player. For example, if you're inside Area 18, the player can get access to it there. And then lastly, we've got the underground. Now, these could be interesting as a connector space between buildings. So maybe you've gone in through one building, you go down.
If there was like a subway system, that will work, because they don't really need to generate the whole city and the streets and all of that. They just like generate the subway, and that's it. So that will work, yeah.
And it could bring you through to another part of a building. Let's start with rooftops. Now, up until now, we've largely designed our cityscapes to be more of a backdrop to the landing zone.
Wait. This seems like, this looks like our corp, but do you guys see something that is off here that shouldn't be here right now? This is obviously a new image. So Pisces, looks like Pisces. What is this? I don't know. Looks maybe like a reclaimer from the distance. Yeah, could be a cutter. This, not sure. This, it's too small. But this thing here, you guys see this thing here? That's the Odyssey. Well, let's continue.
We have the social space generally in the middle, and then the city.
The Odyssey is not even in production right now, so yeah, that's why I'm seeing that.
Cityscape goes around it. And they've been designed to give the best composition, to be interesting to fly around, but we've not really thought about designing these buildings from the inside out. So what we're looking at here is some potential concepts for what could be
This looks
interesting
nice.
landing spaces that drives the architecture of the building. With landing pads, it doesn't necessarily need to be on the top of the building. It could be, halfway down or lower. So imagine, you're in the lower parts of the city, and then we'd open up these additional play spaces. And as you can see here, it's not just the landing pad, it's the gameplay space that goes along with it too. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to
Okay.
be a single building.
Okay. I'm liking this. So they're looking into the future. But also, as one of you, and I'm trying not to look at the chat because I want to make this a video, but one of you said that like whenever they opened their mouths, they had 4 more years. So yeah, but they opened their mouths fucking 8 years ago when they said that, or like 6 years ago.
Goes
Something like
along
that.
with it too. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be a single building. Imagine there is a network hub that services a few different buildings. So what we're looking at here is maybe like a transit hub where the player could land, get on some transit, and then that would lead to some buildings. Okay, so maintenance spaces.
That will work.
So these could be really interesting in terms of player interaction. They could be dealing with the power or the maintenance of the building. And then also you could have technical spaces. So these would be more for technicians. It could deal with the data or the communications. And what we're looking at here is potential some, gameplay puzzles where the player has to work their way inside the main operation booth. So moving on to residential. So there's a huge amount of potential here. What we wanted to do with
They got this from Midjourney. So yeah. So you know what? Like this is gonna happen probably, but like when they say Journey to 4.0, this thing is not gonna be released with 4.0. Like even if they started working on it now, with 4.0 is gonna drop in maybe a year, maybe even more. But like it's not gonna be 4.0, it's gonna be 4 point something. But sure.
residential is two things. One, explore investigating the potential player housing. So with that, we want to be able to create a variety of interior layouts. And also we want to explore a variety of architectural styles. So when we're looking at potential housing layouts, we wanted something fairly modular in a way in which we could create a variety of combinations. So whether it's living spaces or habitation spaces or social spaces. And also here we're looking at, we want the players to eventually be able to populate the player-owned habitation. So you see here like a first indication of how, the sort of dressing styles that you'd be able to do. Outside of something that's fairly utilitarian, we also want to do something that could be fairly high-end. So here we're just exploring some ideas about what a space could feel like on a different architectural style, and more generous windows, interior spaces dedicated to more than just habitation. And these would be focused on other landing zones. So imagine you come across these in Area 18, or it could be when we come to Terra. And also, like I said, it could be in...
Okay. Terra, why are you talking about this in like Journey to 4.0?
Forming future player-owned habitation architectural sets. Now, outside of the living quarters, there's also the social spaces just outside. And we want these to be more than just the corridors that we're seeing in the game right now. So these could be multi-layered social spaces. And these could also inform advanced traversal routes for the player to be able to get inside these habitation rooms. So as we're talking through various architectural styles, what you're seeing here is just a collection of ideas, a collection of architectural intent to create like a palette or a mood that will inform art style and
this looks nice,
and gameplay opportunities. So outside of residential, we're moving into the commercial area. So what this means is it means we can look at areas that are more gameplay focused outside of player habitation. So when we're talking about these could be office blocks, these could be corporate owned. Inside here, there could be corporate wings, there could be manufacturing, there could be office spaces. And what we try to think about with these, it's more than just a flat room. There should be advanced traversal, it should be multi-tiered. So outside of the...
This is such a huge project. Like, this is not going to be completed in the next, like, 5 fucking
commercial
years.
offices, we've
like
also
this.
got, like, restaurants and bars. So what we're looking at here is a pretty cool...
Even procedurally generated is going to be so fucking hard to develop and, like, implement and all of that. This is Lorville, by the way.
Like Skyline bar in Lorville. That could be fun. But also in restaurants, Chris always described the idea of really high-end restaurants in the game where you can get access to food choices that isn't available anywhere else. So right at the foot of the building, we're going to start talking about the lobby. So as I said before, these are going to be access points to the player, but also we can do more than just a standard foyer that we're seeing in the game right now. So this sort of space we're seeing here is, imagine there's an underground transit network, and that transit station feeds a network of building lobbies. So these could be social spaces.
Okay,
these could
so no need for the streets. You're just going to have a subway. Exactly what I said.
be really good combat spaces.
That's nice.
They could have access to mini restaurants or bars or facilities. And we're just showing that in a variety of art styles. So one's a fairly low end, one could be fairly high end, but the infrastructure is the same. So as we're exploring art style opportunities, this then drives where it would be appropriate. So some would be more appropriate in somewhere like Area 18, some would be more appropriate in somewhere like Horizon, and obviously some would be more appropriate for future landing zones like Odessa or Prime. And also when we're talking about lobbies, again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to describe multi-layer traversal spaces. So in these illustrations,
This reminds me of Mirror's Edge, by the way,
seeing
for some reason.
a variety of routes to then help inform the initial conversation with level design. Now, finally, we're going to talk about the underground. Now, this is, I think, one of the coolest spaces. So rather than just focusing on the positive axis of the building, we're going to look at the
Yeah, that later we're going to need a lot of elevators for this.
underground. Now, what this does, it means we can access a whole
Jesus Christ.
area of play space that doesn't need to be contained inside the building. So within the lobby, we want the player to start to traverse down into these spaces, and these could be underground transit networks. They could be abandoned underground transit networks. This then could drive potential racing opportunities. So when we was doing this, we thought, oh, it'd be really cool. Like, what would it look like if there's an underground street race going on there? Also, there could be traversal opportunities. Like I said before, if the player wanted to go into one building, down, and then through, and then up into another building, what would that traversal network be like? Especially if we're thinking about if it's an older part of the underground of a city, maybe it's less used, people have built up. That would instantly inspire a whole bunch of traversal and investigation missions there. Or maybe there's an old aqueduct or an old infrastructure underground. This could be perfect for underground street racing or other racing opportunities. So in a nutshell, what we looked at is a blue sky investigation into what building interiors could be like for the game. These are essentially dungeon kits. We want to be able to work on these areas in a fairly procedural manner, and we want these to be dungeon opportunities for gameplay spaces. Okay. It also will start to inform the future of player-owned habitation and the type of visuals or look and feels that could be. So this ties into a much larger initiative. So we're seeing it a little bit now with the redo of Lowville. That's turning into a much bigger cityscape. And what that means is every city in the game is ready for these building interior spaces. Now, one thing to note is the cityscapes are probably going to change a little bit. Just from an initial investigation, we found our buildings are quite small. So expect to see.
So we got to rework the whole, all the buildings, guys. But don't worry, it's going to take us a month.
See the skylines go through a period of transition, but that's cool because that means we're designing the inside of the buildings and then we'll redo the architecture to fit to that. So I think it's going to be super positive for the game. So just in case we was thinking it's all just blue sky concept, actually we're going to start full production on these spaces right at the end of this quarter.
Look, I've been asking for gameplay on the planets and the moons forever now. Basically forever now. So this could be a step in the right direction, but also, Jesus fucking Christ, this is a huge thing and it's gonna take him a long time. And this is not me speculating, like somebody's gonna say, guys from Reddit. It's just common fucking sense and knowledge. That's how it works. Is especially if you take into consideration that it took him a fucking year to give us a move all button in the inventory. So yeah, it's gonna take even fucking longer. Although screenshots are fucking amazing, so it could be worth the wait.
What did we learn this week? Well, we learned that much like the new one.
For a second there, I thought Jared was wearing my hoodie.
Underground facilities we showcased before, building interiors will be a new series of modular set pieces, enabling a whole host of gameplay opportunities, from trade to exploration to combat and PvP and much more. And that, much like those new UGFs, they're going into production now, and in fact, by the time this airs, will already have started. And that the journey to 4.0 may have Pyro at its center, but it will still continue to evolve.
See, Jared, the question is, what does production mean for you guys? Because production for you guys is also just making JPEGs. That's the issue.
All aspects of Star Citizen and the existing persistent universe around it. Now, we'll be back with more Inside Star Citizen next week. But for our journey to 4.0, I'm Jared Huckabee, and we'll be back in about a month or so with our next big look forward. See you then.
It's fine. You can release a journey to 4.0 mid-September, and we're still gonna be this closer to 4.0, so that's fine. Oh my god. I mean, look.
So what did we learn about this week? What? So what did we learn this week? So what did we learn this week? Well, so what did we learn this week? So what did we learn this week? So what did we learn this week? So what did we learn about this week? So what did we learn this week?
Well, for me, this never gets old, honestly, and it was made by Jack Reacher. But yeah, we have learned, Jared, thank you for asking. We have learned this week that you made a lot of JPEGs. I don't want to be attacked by the Reddit people again. I feel like I'm a Hogwarts streamer that just got fucking Oh, I'm not gonna say the R words. The attacked on my stream, but yeah, this is a step in the right direction because this is something that they were promising in a while, but also it's gonna take them a long fucking time to make this. And when they say journey to 4.0, it's not even fucking 4.0. It's gonna be 4.20. 4.18. But I mean, whatever happens, happens, right? And I'm, as always, hoping for the best and expecting the worst. So with that said, thank you for watching, and thank you to all my patrons that are supporting your channel. If you want to support the channel, there's going to be a link down in the description of the video. On YouTube, you also have the join button. You can do it there. During the premieres and live streams, you can super chat. If you want to support me. If not, then okay. But also there's merch, and you can get the merch by going in the merch store. Also, the link is down in the description of the video. Check it out. Most of it is funny. Keep calm and buy an address. Like, as I've said, check it out, and like, it's fine if you don't buy anything. If you do, I guess that's the best way for you to support me, because it's a one-time payment, and also you get something in return if videos are not enough for you. I guess that's like the best thing. And yeah, check out my Twitch channel, check out my second channel, and check out my great hoodie in my merch store. I don't know, subscribe, and thank you, and goodbye. And don't forget to bring a towel when you're traveling through space, and mwah, bye.